And welcome to today's episode of Get a Better Broadcast Podcast and Video Voice. My name is Peter Stewart. On Twitter, I'm Tweeter Stewart, TWWTERSTEWART. We've been speaking, haven't we, about breathing and reading, and we've spoken about phonation and resonation. And in a month or so, we're going to be starting our journey into intonation for conversation and inflection, and then later on down the line about projection as well. It's all to do with helping you read out loud better, confidently, convincingly, and conversationally on our daily podcast, Get a Better Broadcast Podcast and Video Voice. Now, we're moving into a new chapter where we're talking about tone. Tone. The German philosopher Nietzsche said, "We often refuse to accept an idea merely because the tone of voice in which it's been expressed is unsympathetic to us." Yeah, we're talking about tone and what it means and how you can connect better with people, your listeners, because of the tone of voice you use. Now, I'm not talking about the pitch. We discussed pitch over the course of the past couple of 3 weeks. The pitch of the voice is whether it is low or high. But the tone of the voice is all sorts of different things. Let me explain. The right words alone won't necessarily persuade. The tone of your voice matters too, if your listeners are going to believe what it is you're telling them. Now, some people use the word tone when they mean pitch, and that can be a bit confusing. And think of the English phrase tone of voice. It means something quite different, and usually, in that particular sense, it can be quite derogative. But a tone can actually be a useful way to talk about a vocal attitude in a presentation, maybe an authoritative tone, or one that is snarky, businesslike, or even boy or girl next door. Most people can pretend to have a certain tone when needed, yeah? You put on a certain tone of your voice when it's bedtime for the kids, yeah? You have a certain tone with your friends down the pub, and you've got a bit of a certain tone, yeah, when you're disbelieving. Yeah, right. That's what I'm saying about tone. Tone may also refer to an age, an older tone, the tone of a schoolboy. Yeah, so you can see why it's important to distinguish between tone and pitch as two different vocal describers. Listeners may pick up a tone in your voice that you don't mean to be there. Almost imperceptible changes will be made to your sound if you've got an underlying emotion, perhaps something going on in your personal life. I mean, how often have you perhaps spoken to a friend on the phone and after a few moments said, "Are you okay? You're sounding a little bit different." You've picked up on something non-verbal, that they sound a little bit different. Something's happened. They're perhaps a little bit stressed, or they're being a little bit offhand in their tone. How are you? The tone of that simple question can be altered to mean several things. It could be a bright greeting. You're not expecting a response. "Hi, how are you?" It could be a genuine health inquiry of someone maybe after a bereavement. "How are you?" It could be a reciprocal personal request as part of a conversation. "Yeah, how are you?" So, if pitch is the register of the voice, high and low, then tone has got to do more with the emotion of the voice, whatever pitch it is. Yeah, they do go hand in hand to a large extent, but they are different. So you could intone a serious emotion in reporting, if you were a newsreader, a disaster or concern for a missing child. You could have happiness when reporting a pleasant weather forecast, elation when reading a commercial about a great sale, humour when telling of some harmless mistake or incident. Tone can have a huge impact on how your listeners feel about you and what they think of what you're telling them. If there's a disconnect between the words and the tone, for example, if you say, "I'm really passionate about this," yeah, in a disinterested voice, it could be the difference between someone thinking, "Wow, they're trustworthy," to "Wow, what a tosser." So, okay, how do you not sound like a tosser? I'll start that tomorrow as Get a Better Broadcast Podcast and Video Voice continues. From London, I'm Peter Stewart.